So I'm from the University of Iowa, and for those of you that don't know anything about Iowa, we're in the Midwest, not too far from Chicago. And the university itself is about 30,000 individuals. We have undergrad and graduate programs. We have a medical school and all of the health science complement, except for veterinary medicine, which is at Iowa State, about 3 hours away. Our program in public health includes both Ph.D., M.S., M.H.A., and M.P.H., and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the M.P.H. program today. We have about 200 students in the program currently. A little over half of those students are combined students. So those students are in other health professional schools primarily, including pharmacy, medicine, vet medicine, and also in law. We also have students who are combined with other degrees, primarily Ph.D. degrees and a few other professional degrees at other institutions. We also have combined students with our own MHA, Masters in Health Administration students. The other students are in a department, in five different departments, and so those students are either in biostatistics, occupational environmental health, community and health behavior, biostatistics, and so those students have a sort of a home base, and our other students are in their primary colleges at the university. We admit on a rolling basis, so we have students coming into our program throughout the year. As soon as we receive your application, we review it, and typically you will get a response about whether you're in the program or not in about 8 weeks. We are in the centralized application system called SOPHIS. So those of you that have a little bit of familiarity with applying to colleges of public health, many schools, if not most at this point, are in that system. So our admissions are somewhat delayed because of that system taking a little bit of extra time, but we do have, like I say, we try to get most people a word back in about 8 weeks. So if you applied now, you would potentially know by December whether or not you were admitted into the program. We accept applications for the summer up until April 1st, for the fall up until April 15th. And then the students that are in the combined programs can apply in the fall for a spring admission as well. So we have 3 cycles of admission for our programs. Out-of-state tuition for our program is about $15,000 a semester. In-state tuition is about $7,000 per semester. It's, you know, when you compare it to a private school, it's sort of even for out-of-state, it's not too bad. We do have some scholarships available, both through the MPH program and through the university. So there are some ways that you can also reduce that tuition load. And I'll wait for questions after.
Good morning. My name is Dave Clark. I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs at the UCLA Fielding School of Public Health in Los Angeles. How many are UCs? Yeah. Okay. So are my sisters and brothers. Anyway, like I said, I am from the Fielding School of Public Health. Fielding is Dr. Fielding, who is the head of the County Department of Los Angeles. It's one of the largest public health departments around. So we have a very close connection to our public health workforce in Los Angeles. The school is a mid-sized school. It's about 650 students. We do offer the MPH, the MS, the PhD, and the DRPH in all 5 of the areas that you probably know about and know. What's important for us is that we're located in Los Angeles on the main university campus. The campus is 47,000 students. We are a Research 1 institution, so we take research extremely seriously. So if you come to us in any of our degrees, in any of our departments, you're going to get a strong academic course load, you're going to do research, and then you're going to do practice experience out in the community doing impact work. So when you graduate at the end of 2 for the master's or 5 to 7 for the doctorals, you will really have those 3 very strong components to your education with us. We've been around for about 53 years, so whether you're doing, and we're in 70 countries around the globe doing global health work. We do not have a separate global health department. We feel every single one of our departments should be teaching global health because we live in a global city. So if our students are out working in the city, they need to know global health. So like I said, though, we are in 70 countries around the globe. If you come to us, some of the interesting things you might be working on is the transmission of monkeypox in the Congo. We have a researcher who travels up and down the Congo rivers doing monkeypox transmission from bushmeat to humans and what the effect and the mortality rate in the Congo because they stopped vaccinating their people. You might be working in Los Angeles in the corner barbershops. We are, the last speaker talked about food deserts and the lack of good nutritional food in some communities. We are working with transforming old barbershops that have closed into little food co-ops so people can grow locally in their own gardens and then come and share food with their neighbors to kind of get a little bit. Is that my time?
No.
Is this the Oscars? I know I'm from Los Angeles, but I'm not at the Oscars. Okay. Or you might be working in India. We have work over there with 6,000 female sex workers doing female empowerment and reproductive health stuff. So for us, we are in SOFAS. We start December 1st as our deadline. We only matriculate in the fall. We only start once. Our tuition's a little bit higher. It's $24,000 in-state, $35,000 out-of-state, but there is no preference between in-state and out-of-state. We do offer generous merit packages. Last year, our master's students, 70%, got a $14,000 package. That was our average for 70% of our master's students. So I think we try to make it as affordable as possible because we want you to find your passion. We want you to come to us and build on that passion, and then we want you to go impact the world and change it. Okay.
Hello, my name is Amy Galloway, and I'm with the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. We're located in Baltimore, which is about 45 minutes northeast of Washington, D.C., so it's a $7 train ride to D.C. We are the largest school of public health. We have 2,300 students and right about 1,400 faculty members. We have research going on in 130 different countries. We have 10 academic departments, so biostatistics, health behavior and society, health policy and management, biochemistry, international health, population family, so sort of the usual stuff. We have 30 different certificates and 9 degree programs, 6 master's degrees and 3 doctoral degrees. Our admissions process, right now we do not participate in SOFAS, but if you plan to apply past this current year, you might want to check our website because we're slowly moving that direction, just sort of one program at a time. So if you're applying for this coming year, apply through us. After that, check the website. Our application process is through an online application called Apply Yourself. So it's your typical online application, and we look for the usual things that you would have to submit for graduate school, letters of recommendation and statement of purpose and all that good stuff. Most universally accepted is the GRE. Some of our programs will accept some of the other test scores, the MCAT, the GMAT, the LSAT, but our application requirements vary by program, department, degree, and sometimes degree track, and so do our application deadlines. We have over 14, so I really wish that wasn't the case, but that is. And so you want to make very sure that you know which program you're applying to and what the applicable deadline is for that. Funding is awarded through our individual departments, and your application for admissions is also your application for that funding. So you want to make sure that your application and all your materials are in by the deadline, because it's sort of first come, first serve for those funding decisions, and once that money is gone, it's gone. So you definitely want to make sure that you make it by the deadline so that you're considered for that. I think that is all I have for now.
Good morning. My name is Vincent James. I direct the admissions office at the Harvard School of Public Health, and we're actually located in Boston, Massachusetts. Anyone been to the Northeast? Well, I was going to say the weather is just like it here, but I guess there's going to be some folks that will disagree with that since they're from the Northeast, but most of the time it's about the same type of weather. Actually, one of the few things I want to talk about with Harvard School of Public Health, we are celebrating our 100th anniversary. At that point, 100 years ago, we were joint with MIT in establishing a School of Public Health before we went on our own way in around 1922. So we're recognizing that joint relationship in 1913. We're also one of the larger schools of public health with a little over 1,100 students. We also offer a number of doctoral and master's programs. I'm going to highlight a couple of them. A lot of the things I'm talking about, as you probably know, are on all our respective websites, so I won't repeat a lot of that information, but I just want to highlight a few things. A number of you are probably in the undergraduate field and thinking about going to graduate work. If you're thinking about going to graduate work, one of the popular departments is the Department of Epidemiology. We offer a 2-year Master of Science in that department, and they look for students straight out of the undergraduate field. There are about 12 different concentrations within that department, wide range from nutrition to infectious diseases, environmental epidemiology as well, and there's a bunch of others. So that's one area that you may want to take a look at if you want to go straight into public health from undergraduate experiences. We also have the behavioral science and global health and health policy. They tend to want to see at least 1 year of full-time experience, whether globally or local experience prior to those programs. So just a little bit of a gap time might be beneficial for that. Some of you may be thinking of med school. We do offer an M.D. M.P.H. program. You can go to any med school in the country, and then between your 3rd and 4th year, you could do our 1-year Master of Public Health. Our M.P.H. program is a 1-year program. As a rule, it requires a prior graduate degree, unless you're in a joint program like the M.D. M.P.H. or the J.D. M.P.H., which is connected with Harvard Law School. We have a main application deadline of December 15th. I also want to mention 2 other departments, actually. We have a brand new doctoral program called the Doctor of Public Health, the DRPH. This is an interdisciplinary program that's looking for people that have demonstrated leadership through some practical application, want to go into a 3 to 4 year degree program, and then become leaders in their field. So they're looking for folks that have a bachelor's degree with 3 to 5 years of work experience, but it's a brand new degree program that we're touting. And we also have a 2-year Master of Science in computational biology and quantitative genetics. I'm still trying to get the new department, but that's one that's a really exciting program, particularly for math majors. So if you have no friends that are math majors, have them take a look at that particular department. It's a real, they like to call it the big data program. Get a chance to really get yourself immersed in a lot of different applications of applying biostatistics and epi concepts. So that's also there. So we're a SOFAST school, so all of our department programs go through SOFAST. We also offer a Ph.D. which is more theoretical, more lab-based for us, and those Ph.D. programs do not go through SOFAST. They go through the Graduate School of Arts and Science. Our main application deadline day is December 15th, and what that means for SOFAST schools is that everything really needs to be received into SOFAST by that date. Then you'll hear from us in late February or early March. With regards to financial aid, we recommend that you take advantage of any outside scholarships that you hear about. The admissions process is, for the most part, a need-blind process. But it doesn't hurt to seek any outside scholarships you may hear about. One thing that is true for us, for the master's level, there will likely be a loan component as part of the financial aid package, and so any outside scholarships that you receive will help offset any loans that you may get from us. There tends to be a little bit more financially available at the doctoral level, but still it doesn't hurt to take advantage of any outside scholarships. The student body, a very diverse student body. A third of our students are international from over 50 countries. We have underrepresented minorities, about 12%. It goes to 18% if you include Asian Americans. So a very, very diverse student body. As you hear probably through all your sessions here, public health is global health is public health, and especially people want to hear about public health needs and desires from folks that are familiar with their culture and are familiar with their heritage, which is why we are a real strong advocate in having diversity in our student body.
Okay. Aloha kakakiaka, and good morning, everyone. I represent the University of Hawaii at Manoa. We're located on the main island in Hawaii, which is Oahu. So we are very close to Honolulu and Waikiki Beach, and a lot of really great surfing spots. It's nice when you live there. Our program is we're called the Office of Public Health Studies because we are not quite yet a school. We are a relatively young program, but we've been educating public health professionals for well over 50 years, I would say. We have a master's and doctoral level program offerings, and we have just started an undergraduate program that we're incredibly excited about. So we have MPH. We offer an MPH in 4 specializations, including epidemiology, social behavioral health sciences, health policy and management, and the world's only Native Hawaiian Indigenous health specialization, which we're very excited about. We have a Ph.D. offerings in epidemiology. We're looking to expand that, and DRPH offerings in community-based participatory research, as well as translational research. It's one program. We're also looking to expand that. So we have a relatively small, intimate, but responsive and quite flexible and exciting program at the University of Hawaii. We have an application that is a little bit more old school. We have not yet joined SOFAS, but we're talking about it. So there's an there's an application that's available on our website that you would apply to the University of Hawaii Graduate Division System, in addition to a separate application for the Office of Public Health Studies program. That would be for the master's or the doctoral levels application processes. So a couple highlighting things about our program and department. We really emphasize diversity. We're located strategically between the continental U.S. and a lot of the Asian Pacific regions. So we do have a lot of cooperation, a lot of collaboration with Asia Pacific nations, a lot of Pacific Island collaborations with Guam, with a lot of the other smaller countries. We also look at we have collaborations in place and a student exchange with 3 different sites in China, including Shanghai, Wuhan, and Nanchang. And we're also looking to expand that to other countries as well. So we have a very diverse student body in Hawaii. Hawaii is also a very diverse state in general. We have no majority ethnic group. The majorities are the minorities. It's a very exciting and fun place to live. We also have a focus in our department on Asia Pacific issues and an interdisciplinary approach to health. So we're trying to work on cooperating agreements, both with other universities, but also within our own university community. So the University of Hawaii at Manoa is the flagship university for the University of Hawaii system, which includes community colleges and a lot of other state universities. But we're the flagship Research One institution. So we work with a lot of collaborations between other departments and trying to see how we can best educate our students in an interdisciplinary approach, both students in our department and students outside of our department as well. We also have an emphasis on community-based participatory research and very strong relationships with our community members internationally and locally. We have a global health focus as well, and we're developing kind of a One Health concept, so looking at unifying health, looking at environment, animal health, human health, and kind of looking at how that's all leads to one health of the globe. So we're very excited to talk to you. If you're interested, we have an excellent website that has a lot of our contact information, and we'll hopefully look forward to seeing you in Hawaii.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stuart Wong. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions at Claremont Graduate University for the School of Community and Global Health. If you're not familiar with Claremont Graduate University, we're the graduate branch of the Claremont University Consortium. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Claremont McKenna, Scripps, Pomona, those schools. CGU is a research-based institution. We're a liberal studies graduate-only institution, so you'll have a lot of chance to have interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary studies in your time at CGU. I'm representing specifically the School of Community and Global Health. We do have 2 degree offerings, the Masters of Public Health and then also a PhD in Health Promotion Sciences. We're a much smaller school. We actually have only 110 students in our program currently. We're fairly new and so still in the growing stage. We are CEF accredited and we're part of the SOFAS application, so you can find us online there as well. We are located about 35 miles east of downtown Los Angeles, so a very strategic location for public health. because we are right on the border of Riverside, San Bernardino, and Los Angeles counties, and so we have access to a lot of different areas of high need, low income, and a lot of places that we can actually practice our public health in the surrounding communities. So we do have 3 different concentrations within our MPH: health promotion, education and evaluation, applied biostatistics and epidemiology, and leadership and management. And our goal as a program is really disease prevention and maximizing well-being through personal growth and enriched community development. And as a research institution, you'll really have access to a lot of high-level research, and we'll have a huge focus on scientific research, but really concerned about the interaction between scientific research and practice. So part of your curriculum would be a 400-hour internship that you would complete in most likely your final semester in our program. Let's see. As a smaller school, we do have a small class size, so you'll have access to your faculty. It's a very intimate and relaxed setting, so you'll get to kind of spend time with the people you're researching with, and really have access to a lot of things that you might not get at larger universities. Average GPA is 3.25, GRE is a little over 300, and we're really focusing on the fit for our students. We want to make sure that CGU and our school is a place that you can see yourself succeeding at and contributing to our community, as well as receiving information from it as well. I think that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So, the first question goes to Dr. Mary Oculi. What are important factors an applicant should consider as they decide which public health school or program to apply to? And after Dr. Oculi replies, we can open it to the rest of the panel.
I'll go off the point of the last speaker here. I think fit for me is very important, and I would guess most of us feel that way. You have to look for the place both geographically and academically that you feel comfortable in. And this panel represents a group of many different types of schools, sizes of schools, public and private. And I think when you apply, thinking about where it is you want to be and what you want to learn and who you want to learn from and how you want to learn. We have a faculty student ratio of about 1 to 4, 1 to 5. So if you like a small intimate setting with, again, smaller classes where you're interacting with the researchers, then that's an opportunity where we are that you might not get at a school where the student to faculty ratio is different. If you like an atmosphere where you have more students around and bigger classes, then you'd probably pick another institution based on that. So I think thinking about what you want to do, why you want to do it, and how you see the institution meeting those needs is probably the key thing from my perspective.
The only thing I'll just add to her remark is that just building on the fact that you have a variety of different schools, and you shouldn't extrapolate what you hear from these 6 schools here to other schools that you might bump into, because every school is unique in terms of what their offerings are, what their specialties are, and what the degree options are, and the fit can vary. So the type of questions that you're going to be asking, you want to ask every school that you're going to be looking at. I do a little bit of joint travel, and one of our favorite lines is, if you see one school, you've only seen one school. So that's just sort of the nature of the public health shopping process.
And to go off of that, we have similar departments that study similar things, but they're called different names. You really want to look at, which program does the sort of research that you're interested in, or the sort of study, and as well as the degree names. An MPH at Hopkins is different from one at Harvard and different from one at UCLA. You want to look and see what that curriculum is and what skills you're going to gain from that particular program to see which is the best fit for you.
I'd also like to just add, also look at the other students who are there and who are joining you to be in your cohort. Because as you find a fit, you want to make sure you fit with them, because they are your colleagues for the rest of your professional life. In 5 or 10 years, if you're writing a grant and you need a colleague, you're going to harken back or maybe remember someone who is sitting beside you in class. So make sure you also look at the fit with the other students.
Okay, so next question goes to Dr. Nelson Hurwitz. Are there certain prerequisite or suggested courses an applicant should take before applying?
Specifically for our program, and I really liked what he said about looking at one school. So all schools are very different. For University of Hawaii at Manoa, we really are interested in your interest. So whatever background you bring, we are very excited to work with that if you have an interest in public health. Ideally, if you have some biology background, some computational background, that would be nice if you're looking into epidemiology or more the biostatistics. If you have some community research component, if you have some community experience working with health organizations, if you're going into those specializations, that would be make for a very strong application. Or if you have interests that align with some of our faculty that you can identify before your application process, that would again strengthen your application. But what we're really interested in is your interest and your fire and your desire to work in public health and contribute to the larger community. Personally, I have a background in economics, and I have a master's in public health, and a doctorate in microbiology. So I'm all over the map. I'm not necessarily representative of our faculty or of our students, but we are very open to diversity in education and how we can work interdisciplinary with other areas.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Wann, is it required to have a public health related internship in order to apply?
A public health related internship?
Yes.
In order to apply, no. We have a 400-hour internship that's a part of the curriculum. If you have already done any type of internship or have any work experience in the public health field, you can reduce the number of hours of that internship to 200. So, but there's no requirement prior to application.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clark, is it unadvised to take the GRE multiple times?
That's a good one. I would first start by looking at the schools and talking to the schools. Every single school has one of us there to help you. So what I suggest, if you're concerned about your first score, call the school and have a candid conversation. This is what I got. You know, some of our departments don't really look at the GRE score. They don't care. Some departments really care. So depending on which department, I might say, you know, I think you're fine, or you might want to take that one again. But there's a resource at every school for you. So use that. Like Vincent said, you're only looking at one school. So if I say, oh, you have to have this percentage, that's for one department in my school only. So work with the school.
Thank you,
I just
Mr.
want to add one quick thing, because there tends to be a little bit of a policy behind that. Some schools will look at the most recent score that you've taken. Some will take an average of the scores. There's a little internal admissions policy. Just make sure you ask that question for the schools that you're applying to, just to get an understanding what that policy is. Like in the case for Harvard, we look at the most recent score.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Galloway, if a particular public health school or program offers a priority deadline, what advantages do you think there are to submitting an application by that deadline?
Well, at Hopkins, our school-wide policy is that all your application and all your supporting materials need to be in by the deadline. That's sort of done right there. And some of our programs will be a little bit more flexible about some of your supporting materials. Others are very hardcore. If your stuff is not in by that deadline, your application is withdrawn. The other thing I would say by that is in most cases, well, for us at Hopkins, funding decisions are made pretty early on, and those are made by about the people who submitted by the deadline. So if your materials are late, you may not be considered for funding. So that would be the other thing about submitting by the deadline.
Okay, so that actually ties in with the next question. Ms. Aquilino, Dr. Aquilino, financial aid may sometimes bring up a concern for many students. So what happens if an applicant submitted the FAFSA application, but they didn't list the public health school or program they applied to?
I'm not sure I can answer that. Maybe one of the
Okay.
others that does financial aid could answer that.
Just go at it.
Okay.
I think it's pretty simple, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that
You can go back.
if you don't have that school listed, I don't think they'll get the FAFSA. They won't get your information, so they won't know to process you.
Okay. So, Mr. Clark, in your experience, is it common for MPH applicants to take a year or two off to get work experience before applying to the MPH degree?
I'll only speak for UCLA. A third of our students come straight from undergrad because we do not have a work requirement. Another third have been out for 2 to 3 years. Maybe they've done the Peace Corps, Teach for America, something like that. It's not the gap year where they went and laid on the beach. Okay, it's doing something. Or maybe going and starting in a career and realizing I need an advanced degree to kind of move up at that organization. And then the other third of our students are all over the board. Our oldest student who started this year was 59. So.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Dr. Denise Nelson Hurwitz, in your opinion, does choosing a particular specialty increase an applicant's chance of getting accepted to a particular public health school or program?
For our master's and doctoral programs, we very strongly encourage students to apply to a specific specialization. Your application won't be considered if you don't list a single specialization. We encourage students to choose only one, although we have had students that have chosen multiple, and their applications are looked at separately by the different specializations. But not indicating a specialization, your application won't be considered because we don't have a mechanism to even review your application without a specialization.
Thank you.
If I can just build on something, as you probably know, public health is a very broad field, and the application process will likely be looked at by a member of the faculty in their respective schools. It's a person who's an expert in his or her own field, and they're looking to see if there's a good fit, if you as an applicant will work well in their particular department. So it's not like undergrad when you were doing the essay and trying to figure out what tree you want to be when you grow up. It's really more specific in terms of what sparked your interest in public health, what are your goals, and how is the degree that you're applying to going to help you achieve your goals. That's kind of the variation on the thing that you'll be seeing in a number of statement of purposes. So it is kind of important to hone in on which aspect of public health that you want to focus on and that you want to pursue and what your goals are. So you'll hear that a lot when you're shopping around. So it is kind of important at the graduate level.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Wann, how does the school an applicant attended as an undergraduate affect their matriculation chances?
We'll look at applicants as a whole. There's not one specific piece of an application that we're going to focus on more than any other piece of the application. So yeah, your undergraduate institution will be considered, but what will be probably considered more heavily than that is how did you challenge yourself at whatever school you did attend. So when you apply, we're going to look at your GPA, but we're going to look at your course load as well. And so whether it's UC Davis or some other school that you've attended. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. No, Cal State Sacramento, isn't that close to here? You can apply from either of those schools, but we're going to look at your course load and make sure that you challenged yourself. And not only that, but kind of drawing off the last question, you kind of need to show that you have some interest in public health, whether that was in your course load as an undergraduate or in work experience you've had afterwards. It's going to seem a little bit random if you apply for a public health degree and all you've done at this point is mathematics and then you taught math for a couple years. It might not make too much sense, so you need to make sure that you're able to explain what your interest is in public health.
Thank you, Mr. Wann. Dr. Aquilino, does having a double major or minor give an applicant some advantage?
I think it's similar to what we've been talking about in terms of where you're going and what you want to do with those different backgrounds. We would look at that from the perspective of, does the coursework that you've taken in those majors or minors match with whatever area or department that you're applying to? So I think in the overall package, does that add something to your application for you to have that additional coursework or credential or not? So you could have a double major and maybe not have as good a chance as someone that's just taken a lot of coursework that is more relative to the department you're applying to.
Thank you, Dr. Aquilino. Ms. Galloway, do multiple rounds of application to the same school affect an applicant's chances of admission?
Multiple applications to different departments, is that what you?
No, like to
Oh,
the same
different
department.
years.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that really affects your chances as long as, what I would say is though between those years is that you try to add something to that application that you didn't have before, either some kind of experience, usually that's what it is, some kind of experience that you could go and get to either gain some focus that you would include in your statement of purpose, or even eliminate some options that you had been considering before. But anything that would that would help you bring more to the table as a public health future professional.
And I would just add, as a policy question, just ask to see, for example, in our Ph.D. program, you can only apply 3 times. And after the 3rd time, you can't apply anymore. So some schools may have those types of policies. Just make sure because they really want you to be thoughtful and to take the time and to do the application, not keep submitting it. So just check on the admissions policies.
Thank you. So the last question goes to Dr. Nelson Hurwitz before we open it to the audience, is what are some advice you would give to those who do not get accepted into a public health school or program?
I would talk to the students about maybe looking into some work experience or looking into some volunteer activities, internships, getting involved in your local community or getting involved abroad. Just as a way to hopefully strengthen and focus your interests in public health, or maybe strengthen and focus an interest in a certain specialization. I've talked to students that initially came to me and said, I'm very interested in social behavioral health. I want to look at disease transmission. Okay, so let's have a conversation about this. Let's kind of refine your interests and see if this is really a good fit for you. So a little bit of self-discovery. Our program also offers students the opportunity to take courses unclassified as an unclassified student. So in that way, you get to know our program, you get to know our faculty, you get to know the kind of coursework that you'll be exposed to. And you can hypothetically get a jump on your graduate degree once you are accepted. So a lot of different options and really just finding out what fits and what feels best for you at the time.
Can I add just one small thing? Please, just because you maybe don't get in one year, don't let that destroy your passion or stop your passion or squelch your passion. Because sometimes it's totally not you. I know it sounds like we're dating, but sometimes it's not you, okay? For example, this year just because of a crazy situation, 2 of our nutrition faculty aren't going to be here this year. So we took many fewer people who wanted the nutrition track because we want to make sure we have enough faculty to mentor them appropriately. So we're not going to bring in a bunch if we can't mentor. So that track, we didn't take very many this year. So it doesn't say anything about the ones that we probably would have taken in a different year that we didn't take this year. So maybe sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's not you. It's just the way that the university works that year, or the admissions process works, or the application pool works. But I'd also say make sure you apply to a variety of places. Just like when you went to undergrad, you had your reaches, your safeties, and your middles, or whatever they called them. Kind of do the same thing.
Thank you. Does anyone out in the audience have any questions for the panelists? Yes?
I have a question. So if you are out of school and working full-time, there are now a lot of online offerings where you can take courses for free through edX and things like that. Or taking a course in a public health field through something like edX helps strengthen your application or not because it's a non-free course.
The question she's asking, in case you couldn't hear it, was regarding the online courses like edX, and if that could be, students take that, would that help strengthen? Again, this is a question you want to ask each institution. I'll just talk for Harvard. So we look at the edX courses. They don't count towards your degree. It can help identify your interest in the program. It could help you in terms of crystallizing your statement by going through what's going on through the program and identify what your goals and interests are. So it's something that's nice to do. It's something that can help with you in determining what you want to do, but it may not translate into course requirements or satisfying any course requirements for us.
Does anyone else on the panelists have anything to add to that, or no?
No,
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. You have a question?
Yes. Okay. So my question is, in undergraduate, if you're somebody who's involved in undergraduate research, and it's focused in, so say you're doing a lot of research in population control or women's health and infant health, that would seem to direct you to an MPH in maternal and child health. However, there are skills that you can learn in other programs, such as community implementation. How do you navigate what is going to be best for you? Should you go into that maternal and child health realm possibly because you have so much experience in it? Or because you have so much experience, you should go into something that's more community implementation so you can take both of those skills and merge them together?
Personally, I would say whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. So just repeating the question, she asked if she had a background in a certain area of public health, such as a maternal child health. If you have a lot of research experience in undergrad, would you necessarily proceed into maternal child health or that a track in public health that was related to your research, or would it be beneficial to branch out into another area? Personally, I would say think about what you might want to do long term. If your long-term goals are more maternal child health and this is really aligned with your research experience, I would say go for it. Great. If your long-term goals are more community engagement, maybe you want to do more application of your research, then by all means go into a different field. What's really nice about public health also is that because it's such a diverse field, you can learn lots of different tools in lots of different areas. So just because you've done some background in more community engagement doesn't mean that some more epidemiology knowledge isn't going to strengthen your skills as a practitioner when you graduate. So finding what feels comfortable for you and what you want to use those skills in your MPH for moving forward.
And it's possible that if your interest is in both, that you could find a program that would incorporate both of those. Many of our schools have strong practice components to our programs. And so if your interest is maternal child health, but you're wanting to learn more about putting those more research academic skills into practice, then you could probably find a program that would do just that.
Yes.
My question is for UCLA.
Hi there.
So my question is, I know UCLA encourages students to apply early, and that we must submit all of our documentations by the deadline to receive the best financial package. So my question was, is it okay to turn in our application as soon as possible without GRE scores and letters of rec, and then turn those in later, just so that we have our application in, as long as everything's turned in by the deadline?
Yeah, the question was, can you turn in part of your application earlier and then like the GRE scores, the letters of recommendations kind of catch up later? And what I always say at our information sessions is that because of SOFIS, it's an online system and you have to input all of your data, you have to type in all your classes and all, you have to put a lot of input into the SOFIS application. That's why I say do it early, so then that way it's in, it's loaded, it's verified, there's no glitches that you have to go back and forth and work on. That's why I always tell people who apply to us, just get it done early, turn it in by like November 11th, November 10th, that way you can enjoy your Thanksgiving, because our deadline is December 1st. GRE scores can come later. There's a self-report where you can put in what you took and you can just self-report it, and then the GRE score will catch up later. That's no problem for us. Letters of recommendation should really be in by December 1st, though. Someone can trickle, but really SOFIS won't release it to us because we put a rule on it until you have at least 2. So you don't want anything to hold it up. We start reading on December 2nd, and then funding packages are given based on that.
Okay, so thank you.
And
Mr.
just a
Clark.
reminder, please don't confuse getting things early with things rushing to get in. Very important to take the time to, particularly with the statement, to put the time in to make sure you're doing the best presentation and getting the best application in.
Thank you, Mr. James. Any last words from the panelists? Okay, can everyone please give a round of applause for the presentation?